I don't think anyone really wins from dating apps. Who goes on a dating app and spends like, let's say a month or two just swiping and talking to people and actually comes out of it better? Obviously if you manage to bag a relationship off a dating app, then fair play. But from what I've seen and from what I've experienced, dating apps are just some sort of like attention grab for everyone, and no one's on there really to find relationships. And this might just be me, but I feel like if you actually want a relationship and you want to just meet people in general, doing it in real life is so much better than doing it online. Because everyone's unique and you have a chance to display your uniqueness in real life. When you're online, it's just like a few pictures and shit, like you can't really display who you are. And if you try to display who you are, you're going to do it in a weird way and they're not going to really understand what you're like. So it's always better to meet people in real life. There shouldn't be any argument about that. I think that's quite clear. The main problem with dating apps is just the way they're set up. In terms of general relationship dynamics, women like the attention that a man gives them, and a man loves the affection that a woman gives him. And when you transition that and you take that knowledge into dating apps, these girls are getting hundreds of matches, or what, hundreds is an overstatement, but lots of matches and lots of attention without having to do anything, without having to talk to anyone in real life, without having to be in a relationship with anyone. So they're getting this free attention. All they have to do is put a few photos up and that's it, and entertain it. And guys are out here like giving away all their attention for absolutely nothing in return, because the girls know that they don't need to do anything. They don't need to go on a date with you or meet you in real life. They'll just take the piss with you online. And they still get that feeling of, having people that want them, and they still feel wanted and desired in a way. So that sets up a really bad dynamic for real life interactions as well, because then you meet people in real life and they just don't really care, because they feel completely satisfied from the attention they've got online. And so in real life they're just a bit boring, maybe they're a bit out of touch. And that might be part of the reason why relationships now are so fragile. I mean, relationships being fragile now is a whole other topic, but I mean, I'd put it more as a general societal issue in terms of things that society pushes and agendas and ways of thinking that are pushed forward. I think that's part of the reason why relationships are so fragile. But technology and dating apps in general have a horrible impact on long-term real-life relationships working out. They give you this perception that you're more wanted than you are, and so that when you get in a relationship you feel like you could do better. And sometimes maybe you could actually do better. But there's people out there who are in long-term 1-2 year relationships, and they get bored, and as soon as they get bored they instantly think about how there could be better people out there. And dating apps in general give you a bit of a false perception that there's more choices and more options than there really are out there, especially for women more so. I know some guys who play it well in terms of they know the game, they know how it works, and dating apps actually work for them. But for the majority of guys, you're just wasting your time and your energy. It's just like you're just giving it away for free, like putting it into a void. You could use that energy so much better, just put it into yourself. So my advice is don't use dating apps, especially if you're a guy. Meet people in real life. If you feel like you're a guy and you have more success online than in real life, that's a bit of an issue. It shows that you don't really have much going for you in terms of personality. Maybe you're a bit boring, maybe you're a bit weird. But the more time you spend online in this digital world, the harder it's going to be for you to talk to people in real life. So just get rid of the dating app shit and just start talking to people in real life. And in the long term, that will definitely help you in terms of relationships and stuff. You should be in a much better position from doing that, instead of wasting all your time and energy on dating apps with people who don't really know you, don't really like you, and they just want your attention. They're just taking the piss. But society pushes forth this idea of promiscuity, and there's a degree of promiscuity that's normal, that's natural for humans to procreate. I think the point we've got to now is far past what was natural. It's actually being pushed forward. A good example is, say there's a girl who's been in a 1-2 year relationship and she's got a friendship group and all of them are single. So she's the only one who has a boyfriend, all the rest of them are single. Say they're out, she's going to see all of her friends having fun. They're all drunk, whatever. They're all kissing guys, whatever. And she's sat in the corner knowing that she can't do that because she's got a boyfriend. Now I know that most women will be able to deal with that just fine without doing anything. I'm not saying they would. But how do you think that affects people on, say, a 2-3 month scale of that happening every weekend? They see that. And then as soon as they get bored, a little bit bored of their relationship, or maybe they have a little argument with their partner, and as soon as there's a little chink in the armour, that temptation of seeing her friends have fun, which is what is now socially accepted as fun, that's enjoyment, that's how you feel good, now she wants to do it as well. So she's then influenced to do that. Say she does it, the relationship ends, whatever, because maybe the guy finds out what she did, wasn't happy with it, it ends, that's the relationship over. Now she's single as well, so now you just got a group of single people. So the sort of single mindset is very contagious because of the way it's pushed and propagated now. Say 50 years ago, Being single wasn't seen as being free. It was seen as being unwanted. So being in a relationship was a good sign that you were a stable person, that people liked you, that you were a good person in general. But nowadays it's flipped on its head, and now relationships are demonized, and being single is fun and free. And people in relationships are boring now. So it's funny, and I think that if you're in a relationship, you have to accept that this pressure is natural and you can't avoid it. You can do what you can to avoid it. You can be careful who you put yourself around. You can be careful what environments you put yourself in. For example, clubs. If you're in a relationship and you're always going out to clubs with single friends, I don't care how loyal you are, eventually that's going to creep into your mind. And you know, when there's a little bit of a chink in the armor, like I said before, you would have been in a much better position if you had never gone to those clubs, and if you put yourself around other people who are also in relationships. So this contagious sort of instant gratification attitude of, do what's fun now, let's get fucked, let's get drunk and kiss loads of people who we don't really like, and do whatever we want to do because no one cares, and you know, we're all going to die. It's true, we are all going to die, but I don't think it gives you a reason to disrespect yourself. And I think that's the main problem with doing things like that, is you just end up losing all self-respect. And if you can't respect yourself, then nothing else matters. You have to have self-respect. You have to be able to look back on the things you've done and be proud of them. If you look back on everything you've done in the past 2-3 months and you're like, oh, they're all mistakes, why did I do that, why did I do that? If you hate yourself and you hate the things you've done, how do you expect to be happy? So don't let society make you think that relationships are bad. Again, like just 50 years ago, it was exactly the opposite, and now it's been flipped on its head. And I mean, the statistics back up what I'm saying. If you look at divorce rates and things like that, and all these statistics for men having less sex than ever before, like all these issues that are now arising show that back then the approach taken in terms of relationships and being single socially was much more effective than what we have now. So be aware of the social pressures, understand what you do and how it might be detrimental to your relationship. If you care about the relationship, put boundaries in place that sort of stop these things from affecting you as best as you can, because to some degree, what's socially normalized is always going to affect you in some way. Always. You can't change it. But what you can do is change how it affects you, and you can change how you place yourself in each situation.